It's Whiskey Wednesday again. Where are we going this time? Let's stay close to home. Hello again, welcome back to Whiskey Wednesday. I'm Nathan as always, this is Wasn't My Fault, and as I said, some Penderyn. It's a Welsh whiskey, produced not too far away. They use, I think, the waters of the Brecon Beacons they're using it. This is in a Madeira finish. What percentage is it? 46%, so it's non-chill filtered. No added colour, which is good to know. So, I love the bottle. They do have ones that just got normal, boring, like wine bottles with dragons on them, which I'm not interested in. I like unusual, I like different. I've not tried one of these before. I unfortunately haven't been to the distillery or anything yet, obviously lockdown, so I don't get a chance to do that. So it doesn't look quite as bright as it does in the box because they've got a bit of silver backing. Maybe cheating, but who knows. I don't know much about this. I've tried to not cloud my judgment too much by finding out a little bit more about it. So I know it's local, blah blah blah, that's really about it. Anything else I'll put in the description, as I always do, with links to the distillery's website and so on. So if you do want more information, you can find it. Well, that's interesting, little bit of engraving on the lid as well. So I like the bottle, it's nice and unusual. It said Welsh Gold, and in Welsh as well, which I'll not try and pronounce, because I have not got a clue. I love corks. A little bit of cork residue on the side. Hope there's no cork inside. I don't think so. Interesting smell so far. So it's a single malt whiskey finished in a Madeira cask. So it should have some nice sweet notes to it, I'm assuming. So it's not too amber. It's quite a nice colour. A lot of smell. It smells like a kind of port red wine type of thing. Well, Madeira, I guess, as I can smell already. See, the colour is quite pale. It's not as deep as a lot of the bourbons and that sort of thing, but you wouldn't expect it with the climate we've got in Wales. It's not going to be a huge amount of colour. Is there an age statement? I don't think there is. No, there isn't on it. So I shall have a look at that when we find out what it says about the tasting notes. So it's more ethanol notes than some whiskies I've had recently. It's quite sweetness, but it's got a dryness as well. Very kind of wine smell into it. A little bit of fruit, a little bit of honey. Definitely more alcohol smell than some of them, but it's 46% was it? Did I say? 46? Yeah, 46. So it's on the high spectrum of the lower end of whiskies. Definitely quite a sweetness, but it's very kind of white winey, more than the sort of red wine I got initially, more the white wine sweetness to it. So it's definitely the Madeira cask is coming through quite strongly. Let's try it. That goes through a few different stages. I can only talk properly sometimes. It does have a little bit of leanness. There's definitely some oils in it. You see the glass, when I swash the glass around, it's not the cleanest looking in the world, but you can see kind of oily residue a little bit, so it's definitely quite oily, which is keeping a kind of linger of the kind of fruitiness from the Madeira, which is quite nice. Yeah, I'm definitely getting the kind of fruits. You get that aftertaste you get with like poured Madeira and things like that. Stupid fruit flies. That kind of sweet aftertaste actually lingers quite a bit. There's a little bit of wood spice, not a huge amount though. It's not quite spicy. It is quite a sweet, easy to drink one, to be honest. It's a lot more like a fortified wine than a whiskey in many ways. You've still got the whiskey flavours in there, and kind of the alcoholness of the whiskey, that's all coming through, but it's all the aftertaste and so on is more like a fortified wine. And the nose as well, so the Madeira cask is really shining through. It's quite unusual. So I'm definitely getting a little bit of wood as well, sort of in the sort of mid-range. So it's kind of sweet wine kind of ness to it, a little bit of honey, a little bit of fruit on start, and it kind of goes through the stages, and it keeps that kind of wine fruitiness all the way through to the end. In the middle you can taste a little bit more of the kind of oakiness, the wood, that sort of thing. No smoke, just the kind of the wood spiciness to it. That's quite nice. And then it finishes, as I said, with the kind of fortified wine, just the aftertaste you get with kind of, I said, Madeira and port and that sort of thing. We just get that kind of sweet aftertaste. Definitely get that in it as well. So that's quite interesting. It's not too bad at all. A little bit of water, as I always do. See if it'll open it up or see if it'll destroy it. That's really showing some of the oil, so it should have some good separation to it. Right, that, unlike some of them, that took the ethanol edge off it. A lot more sort of honey notes and that sort of thing I'm getting from it. Yeah, honey and fruit and a little bit of the kind of white wine dryness. More white wine to it, and a little bit of bite at the end. It's kind of, yeah, it's kind of the dryness of it. That is unusual. That is definitely more along the kind of white wine spectrum of whiskey flavours. Interesting. So, what does the box say? Right, anything else about it? Ex-Madeira, wine casks, blah blah blah, all the normal stuff. So, classic freshness, aromas of cream toffee, rich fruit and raisins. Right, the palate crisp and finely rounded with a sweetness to balance the appeasing dryness. The appetizing dryness, sorry, I can't read it all. The gold on black is quite difficult, it keeps shining in the light. Okay, finish. Notes of tropical fruit, raisins of vanilla persist. Balance, oaky vanilla tones, dry sweetness. So I'm actually getting all of that. I'm quite pleased with myself. I'm getting most of that. Not really the raisins so much, but I don't have that many raisins. And cream toffee, maybe, I guess. A little bit sort of vanilla-y. But yeah. I quite enjoy that. So, one last sip. Smell. Yeah, definitely the Madeira comes through quite heavily on that, which is pleasant. I'm definitely not disappointed by that. It's not too simple. That's quite interesting. Right, on with all the stuff we usually do. Let's line up some other drinks. Okay, so here we go. There it is. As always, the 25ml regular measure. Start off, as always, with the Coke, well, Pepsi actually, Pepsi Max, but yeah, who cares? One. Glass. Coffee, and then an old fashioned. Interesting. I haven't found much yet to beat an old fashioned bourbon with the old fashioned, just because it tends to have a little bit more bite to them, I guess, so the flavours hold up that little bit better than some of the scotches do that have more delicate flavours, or more nuanced flavours, I should say. Whereas a lot of the bourbon tend to be more in your face kind of flavours to them. I'm not saying that in a bad way, they just tend to hold up with stuff like Coke and that sort of thing better than a lot of the others do. So let's give them all a bit of a stir. Clean every time. I'll remember the orange peel this time. I have it lined up ready. Okay. Give it every opportunity. Okay. First of all, the Coke. A little bit of sweetness to it. It does bring the dryness and a little bit of the sort of white wine aftertaste to it. It's not bad. It's not overly strong. I said that about it. You can tell there's alcohol in it. But it's definitely a little bit more subtle. That's actually not bad. There's more flavour to it than I was expecting. A lot of them just get kind of buried in the overt sweetness. Even though it's a sugar-free one, you still get that kind of sweetness. And it does dry it out and bring that kind of white wine Madeira quality to it, which is interesting. This should be interesting as well. That holds up quite well. Once again, I'm noticing the alcohol ethanol flavours are shining through a lot more when you add ice. I guess it's the coldness of the ice is stopping your taste receptors from picking up certain tastes. So you're getting the dryness. There's not a lot of sweetness to it though. And I'm completely losing that kind of the fortified wine aftertaste I was getting in the others. So it's not great. It's sort of refreshing, but in a dry way. So it's okay, but not something I'd have. If you like the ethanol kind of alcoholic sort of flavour to it, it's making it more like other whiskies. To be honest, whiskies are kind of, a lot of them seem to just pan out to very similar alcohol flavours. There's a little bit more sort of oak spiciness to it though. So it makes it completely different. The sweetness is gone though. So if you like the sweetness from the Madeira cask, don't add ice. It's not good for it. Okay. Not a lot on the nose, as you would expect, because coffee is fairly strong. It's not bringing out the earthy tones I was getting with some of the other whiskies. It is bringing that dryness out in it, definitely. Not too much the sweetness, just kind of like the dryness and sort of the crispness of it. It's kind of rounding off the coffee. You get the bitterness, and it doesn't just disappear, it kind of just mellows as the taste goes on, and you get an aftertaste of the coffee, but in a mellow kind of way. I quite like that. That is quite unusual. I didn't expect it to affect the coffee in that way, because quite often with the other ones it makes it more woody and earthy, and this doesn't. It's weird. It just kind of, it eases it off. It just makes the coffee flavours kind of elongate and then just kind of drift away slowly. Instead of it being kind of like harsh, it just softens it. I did not expect that from it. That's quite interesting. Okay, now, once again, all I can really smell is orange and bitters and so on. Not a lot left of it, to be honest. There's a slight alcohol bite. I'm losing all the Madeira kind of tones to it and all the things I liked about it. It's not really holding up to that, to be honest. The flavours aren't really matching up well. The kind of white wine dryness and the sweetness of like the aftertaste and so on is just being lost completely. There's something there more than the bitters, but it's not enough to make it really kind of stand out. It's not really what I'd like. It's kind of lost the battle with this one. Shame. The other ones were quite interesting. That is just, it's mainly bitters. There's something of the alcohol to it, but not enough to make it kind of interesting and make it a contender for a good old fashioned, to be honest. So I wouldn't bother with that again. It has taken the harshness off the coffee and kind of rounded it out quite nicely. I did not expect that. That is actually really nice. I've lost most of the bitterness from the coffee. Interesting. More alcohol coming through. It's like adding ice to white wine. Really, it doesn't taste like whiskey. It almost looks like white wine. Strange. Alright, let's go back down. The Coke's nice. I quite like that. Once again, it brings the dryness and the slight sweetness to it, and a little bit of alcohol, but not overpowering. It just kind of complements itself quite nicely. Better as it was neat, definitely. It's lost some of the kind of subtlety of it, and it's just kind of a bit bland. So I'm glad they kept it at the 46% because it definitely helps with it, and without being overly alcoholic, which is quite nice. So total neat's quite nice with a little bit of water. It tones it down a little bit, but more alcohol comes through. Quite nice with a Coke. Don't put ice with it. It just loses everything that's nice about it. Fantastic in the coffee. I'm really surprised at it. It's not a lot of alcohol flavour, but it does round off the coffee and make it less bitter, which is cool. Old fashioned, just don't. It's not worth it. Stick with the normal one. That was actually quite interesting. I look forward to trying some more from Penderyn because that actually was better than I expected, which was good. So that was quite nice and quite surprising. So thanks all for watching. Please join me again soon and come back next week for another whiskey. I think I may have another Speyside coming up soon, so we shall have to see. So please like, comment, subscribe and everything else, and tell some other people, and I might have some other types of videos coming up soon, so keep your eyes peeled. Thanks a lot. See you again soon.